the Ultra Mega Sports Show YouTube show. We got a very, very exciting Eastern and Western Conference finals to go up. Basically got the two great teams in the Western Conference rather, and two, where'd they come from in the Eastern? First thing I want to start off, I think this is funny because before the playoffs started, everyone was talking about how no one wanted to be in the Western Conference because those lower teams, the Colorados, the LA Kings, they thought they could surprise people, and that the East was kind of a wash. You in the East, you want to be in that, and you want to be on top because you get to be the Pittsburgh Penguins, or you get to be the Washington Capitals, or you get to be whatever, Buffalo Sabres. It's backwards. The teams in the West, they came through on top. Their upsets didn't happen, and in the East, of course, well, a man by the name of Halak made some stuff happen here. And of course, you can't forget about Philly's historic comeback against Boston, down 3-0 in the series to win that one. But yeah, let's break everything down and talk about what I think is going to happen in these conference finals. I did my research this morning and kind of put stuff together, some ideas from a bunch of people, and of course my own, and came up with what we can finally put together at the end here. First, let's talk about the West, because we have the two superstar teams there. We of course have the great San Jose Sharks and the great Chicago Blackhawks going up against each other. Let's go. Basically, we're going to pretty much do this like TSN did. You're watching the background too. We're basically do this in that way. Forwards, goalies, defense. Let's start off with the forwards on both teams. This is a crazy matchup on both teams. Obviously, both have their superstars in them. They got their Danny Heatleys, their Joe Thoridens, and of course they got their Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane. And I really think that the Sharks might have a little bit more depth there, because of course Joe Pavelski is great secondary scoring there, and probably a bit better secondary scoring than maybe the Chicago Blackhawks have. But it's almost even, really, if you really compare everything all together. But I want to go best player versus best player to kind of decide for us. I don't like saying it's even. I'm going to leave it at that. You look at Joe Thornton and you look at Jonathan Toews. Some might say Patrick Kane, but whatever, Danny Heatley, whatever. I look at those two players when talking about the forward matchup here, and any day I would take Jonathan Toews. And because what he does on the face-off circle, defensively, he is the best two-way player in the entire league, period. Yeah, sure, Crosby and you know, Ovechkin and Malkin, they're amazing people, but they're not in the playoffs anymore. And you have Jonathan Toews, who is an integral part of Team Canada, and he's one of their best players, and he's the best player on the Chicago Blackhawks, and what he does as a two-way player makes him so much better for everything, and I really think you have a slight edge for Jonathan Toews there and the forwards of Chicago Blackhawks. On defense, this is almost a no-brainer on which is a better matchup here. The Chicago Blackhawks have the best shutdown pair on the defense, so I'm not really going to go too much into that. They can shut down Joe Thornton and Danny Heatley, probably, not guaranteed, but if there's a defensive core that can do it, it's those guys. So then we go to goalies, and you know what? You pretty much give an automatic edge to Nabokov here over Niemi and the Blackhawks goaltending, because Niemi is very inexperienced. He's a fantasy keeper kind of guy. I still expect Huey to be the guy right now playing at this position, but he's not. And Niemi's thrown into there kind of haphazardly, and who knows what's happen. Nabokov has kind of started to shake off that whole playoff mal success. Is that the word I'm looking for? And so you give Nabokov the edge there. So basically, from what I just said, you have Chicago's skaters are all the advantage, and you have the advantage in goaltending for the Sharks. And I really think, normally I'm a goalie. Normally I go with just the goalie matchup, and I can pretty much end it there and forget about everything else. But know what? I believe, like what I said about the forwards there, that little bit of edge that they got with Jonathan Toews as a two-way player, and that defensive matchup, I think that's going to help Niemi a lot more. I think Nabokov is going to face a lot of trouble than he's faced in either of the series he played. Because, yeah, they played against Colorado, and Colorado has Matthew Shane and a shiny offense. And, of course, they played against the Detroit Red Wings and, you know, destroyed them. And, of course, they have some good forwards, but I just think the Sharks are going to be in trouble there defensively, and that's what's really going to hurt them the most. And defense wins championships. So I have the Blackhawks going into the finals.